Another kind of common question that I used to get from people back at home when they heard about what I was doing here was, the kind of schools or companies that you could apply for to get over here. And I think most people have had the same opinion that the best company to probably work for at the beginning is it's
Nova.
definitely the JET program. Nova. And Burke, you came on the JET program. I got rejected after. It's quite hard to get on the JET program, I think. Yeah, I mean, I know some people that got on.
No, it's funny because this is just another part of my Japan history that, Ben, you've again gotten wrong, despite our friendship lasting for who knows how long and us discussing these things on this podcast at least 5 different times. I came over initially because I missed the application. I heard about the JET program from a friend in the U.S. who was going to go on the JET program, but the application process had already finished. And I was like, man, I really want to go to Japan. And especially like the U.S. economy was like horrible back then because that was right after internet bubble burst. And so, yeah, I started looking at English conversation schools. And so I came over on teaching in Eon, one of the large English conversation schools. And Ben, you should know that because you taught at the same school that I taught at.
And that's how I came over too.
Yeah. But yeah, but I switched to the JET program. I did the whole application process while I was in Japan. I flew back for my interview in the U.S. So it's not something that's very common because yeah, you have to pay to fly back because they'll only let you interview for the U.S. in your home, or for the JET program in your home country. So it was a little bit of a tricky process, but it worked out in the end. So, and yeah, there's a long story, but I ended up requesting and getting placement in Sapporo, where I already was teaching at Eon, the English Conversation School that I came over. Hopefully Ben will remember at this time. Yeah, so that's how I came over. So I taught in English Conversation Schools for 2 years, well, Eon, and then I did JET program for 3 years.
So what'd you come over for? You came over Eon. No, I'm just joking.
Let's see. Yeah.
So you came over on Jet. I don't get it.
I did come over on a jet.
Yeah.
I did not come over on jet.
But Ben, you are correct. I mean, jet jobs are the kind of the golden egg of teaching
The Holy
jobs.
Grail.
The Holy Grail, because I think that whole program was organized so foreigners came over to Japan. It was like a tourism promo, wasn't it? They come over here, hardly do any work, get paid quite a good sum of cash.
What does it stand for?
Japan English Exchange and Teaching Program.
And what
it wasn't quite like for promote. I mean, it was a bit of a questionable start to it, but I think it was more so. I mean, the rumor is that Japan basically owed the U.S. for some stuff from way back, and so they're like, "Hey, we'll help fund a lot. We'll put a bunch of Americans and foreigners on salaries to come over to Japan and expose us to English." And yeah, it sounded a lot better on paper, and I think it works quite well in certain situations. But yeah, in other situations, it's just other people that are trying to come over here in a comfortable, fairly comfortable living situation for a few years. Yeah.
And this one is probably the best paid, I would say, out of all the companies or programs that you can come over into Japan, because it's government funded. Right.
Yeah, well, it's I can't remember exactly how much it is, but yeah, it's like usually probably around like 40 grand US, or between 40 and 45 grand US per year. Plus they give you a housing stipend, and depending on your location, you can live in a pretty nice place compared to the housing that they provide for English conversation schools. And yeah, usually the teaching situation is not as demanding as the English conversation schools, where you can just be like teaching class after class after class for like 6 to however many hours a day. Whereas, I mean, some JEP teachers obviously are going to go crazy listening to this, because a lot of teachers come over here very dedicated and motivated to make a big impact on the JEP program, and then they find out they're really not given that much liberty in how they can contribute and stuff. But I think some people in JEP program and in certain situations are actually doing quite a lot with a lot of responsibility and stuff. So yeah, it's just all across the board, like most things.
So I mean, the average salary as a guess would be about what, 250,000 yen a month.
I think that's starting salary for most English conversation schools. And
what JET's about 300, is it?
Probably more. Probably a bit more than that.
Well, yeah, it's a little over 300,000. But again, they like throw in some different things for housing depending on your housing situation, so that makes it vary a little bit. But usually it's over 300,000 per month. I think a little over 300,000 per month. So it's not a lot more, but that little bit does go a long way. It feels like for that lifestyle in Japan and stuff. So.
And plus, if you're allowed to teach private students, like in the evenings, say, and then you could sort of do a bit of moonlighting. Is that?
I mean, a lot of people do. I don't know if you're technically allowed to or not. To be honest, You're probably not supposed to, because I think that's another thing. Like the visas are different for English Conversation School and for the JEP program. Like for English Conversation School, I think it's like an instructor visa or something like that, right? Can't remember exactly.
All right.
But yeah, for the JET one, it's actually a little bit more limiting. So, but I mean, it's not like really people teaching privates according to what visa they're on, anyways. But yeah. So yeah, you do have that more time and stuff. So a lot of people supplement their income doing other stuff, I think, when they're in JET program. Yeah.